At the passing of Roe versus Wade, the legalization of abortion in America took place in January 1973, which began a period of judgment for 40 years, reportedly, that stopped the flow of signs, wonders, and miracles since 1973. Well, guess what? January 2013, that was over, and we're starting to see signs and wonders and healings again. It's so exciting. As a matter of fact, it's time to dive into the river of God. Check it out. Be sure to subscribe and press alert to get new notifications of new success secrets made available on VFNtv. Well, we're talking about an earlier program about the Great Awakening, and I want to just talk about Dutch Sheets with Dutch Sheets Ministries, and he's loosed a prophetic word. And he talked about in the earlier program, we had mentioned it, that there was this 40-year curse, 40 years of judgment that have come on America. It was prophesied about some years back by Chuck Pierce to a church in Texas, and the church didn't know what to do with it. Mm-hmm. And you can get this entire prophetic word. Go to VFNtv.com and go to the torch, the VFN torch, and you'll have every link you need to be able to go right to it to be able to get it from Dutch Sheets Ministries. And you'll be very encouraged. But when Dutch got there for this word, he talks about that. He asked them, he said, well, this word was given by Chuck Pierce when? And they said, what's the word say? It said, the word says, well, 18 years ago, there was judgment brought on the land because of something that was done in the land. Mm-hmm. So he says, did you research it? Did you go back? You know, questions that we probably ask. Yeah, right. So
what did God say?
And what typical of so many folks, it's like, well, we didn't know what to do with it, so we just let it go. Mm. And so he went back and began to research it, and I guess the screw did. And he found out that 18 years ago at that moment was January of 1973. And January of 1973 is where the law Roe versus Wade was passed by the Supreme Court, saying that it's illegal to be able to abort a child in a mother's womb, innocent bloodshed. And that began a 40-year judgment against signs, wonders, and miracles in America, he talks about. And in that, if you look back, because if you study revivals of old, if you studied and seen what God has done, the question you may ask yourself, why isn't it happening? And some people, say this, and if you go and get this particular full prophetic word, you'll hear Dutch say it too. But I've said it, and others have said it. It's like, Lord, if I got to go to a whole other nation to see you do what you do for folks. And then you start thinking about it, because we justify why God wasn't moving in America the way he's moving in other nations. It's because, we have doctors. We'd say things like that. We got doctors. If we didn't have doctors, you start thinking about these different things until God revealed the reason why it is that this curse, this judgment that came down against signs, wonders, miracles, and healings. When we approved a law, we passed that law in America that says abortion is legal. And as a sign of that, Gordon Lindsay, who
founded Christ for the Nations Bible College in Dallas,
which is also a spiritual son of John G. Lake, he also had the Voice of Healing. That's how they communicated. Today we have like the internet, but they had the magazine called the Voice of Healing. It was a ministry too, ministry covering, I understand, which morphed into Christ for the Nations. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
What's the future? Anyway, so in that so 2 months after Roe versus Wade, and understand right prior to that, and I have a spiritual father, Brother Ken Summerall, who's now with the Lord, and he talks about how God began to move in a powerful way in the 70s and in the early 60s, and then all of a sudden it just kind of stops. And it was just amazing what was taking place. What was taking place is just what God says he does. He is who he says he is. And I love what we were talking about in an earlier program. You got to hear it. That, people need to know. They need to understand. They need to see God for who he is. It's not just, but the whole thing about it, we got to be careful what we do and what we allow, because we could bring 40 years, an entire generation, missing out on the awesomeness of what God can do to show himself mighty in a nation. Well, 40 years to the day was January 2013. And I remember I was in this sabbatical, spending time with the Lord, and God just began to really stir my heart that things were just shifting, and it was just a new, fresh wind was blowing, and and we're ready to take the nation for God. It's like, let's just do this thing. And God began to speak quickly and distinctly about different things, and we've seen some major things take place. And then you see this confirming word from Dutch Sheets, this third great awakening. You see Rodney Howard-Browne, rising up, and he's been pushing nonstop. Every single night, I believe Monday through Friday, that you can catch him on Christian television network, keeping the gospel out there, and he's just sowing.
Be sure to subscribe and press alert to get new notifications of new success secrets made available on VFNtv.
A lot of people want to abide with the Lord, but they just don't have a plan to do it. You can request that plan today at iabide.org. I'm your host, Greg Lancaster, and we're so glad that you've joined us. Don't forget you can join us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download our app and sign up for our newsletter, The Torch, at VFNtv.com. I've enjoyed our time together. God bless.